Hello everyone and welcome back to another Hookster Talks. Yes, it's Thursday night and here I am with me and everyone's favourite bear. Yes, here he is, TB. TB, we love you, TB, we do. He's everyone's favourite bear, aren't you, TB? Yes, yes, yes. Unfortunately, we are still in mourning for the Queen, though, aren't we, TB? Yes, we are. God bless you, Your Majesty. Poor old Lizzie. Poor old Lizzie. She's done more mileage this week than I think she's done the whole of the last 6 months. Jesus Christ, she's been up and down the country, isn't she? Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I'm just scratching his eye because he just told me he had an itch. Yeah. We talk telepathically, don't worry. Yes, it's all telepathy. Yes. He's got an itch in his eye, so I'm just scratching it for him, okay? Right. Yeah, poor Lizzie. Bloody hell. She's done some mileage. Done some bloody mileage, and a special sort of sympathy vote for poor Prince Andrew, who had to walk the whole of that mile behind the carriage. That must have been exhausted for him. I wonder if he broke out in a sweat afterwards. Moving on swiftly. There's the TB, there's the bear, there is the bear. Yes. Everyone loves the bear, don't they? Yes, they do. You're gorgeous, aren't you? Gorgeous. Yes. You've got Review Tech USA with his bloody cockerels and chickens or whatever, and you've got the Hookster with his bear. Yes, his bear. Beautiful. Beautiful. Anyway, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well on this Thursday evening. Yes, we're back at you live once again. Absolutely live. Let's go to the comments straight away because I don't want to get into the habit of speaking for 30 minutes and not responding to any of the comments because I've been accused of doing that before and I must stop it because my name's not at... Let's move on. Let's just move on now. Hello, Will F1. Welcome to the stream. He says Nicholas Latiffi absolutely has to go. Of course, that was one of the titles of the video, which is does Nicholas Latiffi need to go now? And the other title, of course, was Is This One Conspiracy Too Far? Which we'll talk about a little bit later. But yes, Latiffi is a melt, apparently. Wowzers. Wowzers me trousers. That's unbelievable. Matthew D'Souza says, hello, Matthew. Welcome to the stream. When do the British coins change from the Queen to the King, or do they stay the same? Now, I'm glad you asked me that, Matt, because I did read about this, I think, yesterday. And apparently, it's all going to stay as it is. Of course, it will get replaced with the King's head, but it will just be sort of... it will start to go into circulation. I had the horrible feeling that every single coin and every single note was going to have to be tendered back to the banks so they could reprint all the money, but thankfully it looks like that isn't going to happen, and it will just be slowly introduced over time until eventually the Queen's notes will be phased out at some point in the future. But at the moment we're okay. Hello Scott, welcome to the stream. He says, hi Dave, hope you're well. Yes, thank you mate, and everybody in the chat. Look at this, Matthew D'Souza, member for 4 months. That's 4 months Matthew's been a member, and what does he get for his membership? Absolutely bugger all. Absolutely bugger all. Matthew says Calderon crashed out of all her F2 races so far. Has she? I haven't been keeping my eye on Tatiana Calderon. Yes, Tatiana Calderon. But yes. Right, well, I'm going to try this. This is completely live and unrehearsed, but I'm going to give it a go. Before we, this is nothing to do with the Facebook thing that we're going to do a bit later, but talking about Queen Latiffi brings up a very important point, and one in which hopefully we can get a comment from an actual Canadian. Yes, an actual Canadian we have got in the chat. So we are going to go to this. Now, I haven't rehearsed this. I haven't even asked him earlier whether he wants to be on or not. So this could be a complete cock-up and may not work. But as we have a Canadian in the chat, we're going to ask that Canadian the question that everyone seems to be asking after the superb performance of Nick De Vries, has to be said. I mean, talk about super sub. He's even sort of overtaken Hulkenberg there, I have to say. I mean, how many cars did he actually drive last week? He was in the Aston Martin as well as the Williams, wasn't he? Was it? I'm sure he was in another one. Wasn't he in the Huss as well? I don't know. But he was doing lots of stuff. And he did absolutely brilliantly. So we are now going to, first of all, forget what I'm doing, which is pretty normal for the Hookster. Pretty normal for the Hookster. So we are going to go to Matthew says Drum Tank would genuinely do a better job than Latiffi. You know, I think you're right. I think you're right. And that's a very good segue, that is, Matt, because we are going to attempt right now, live in your living room, on a Thursday evening. I do apologise for all the pauses when I'm talking, but that's because I'm trying to concentrate on doing stuff at the same time, which for an old man is very, very difficult. Yes. If you've ever seen your dad dance at a wedding, you'll understand. It's not a pretty sight. No, it's not a pretty sight. So occasionally I have to stop and stop talking because my brain cannot talk and process information at exactly the same time. Yes, you'll all get to that stage at some point later on. So just be warned. Right, so here we go then. This, as I say, is not rehearsed whatsoever. So we will see what happens. Apparently he was active 15 minutes ago, but yes, we have an actual Canadian. So the question has been asked, but can the question be answered? That's the thing. We will find out as we attempt to call this, ladies and gentlemen, is an actual Canadian. Yes, he actually lives in Canada right now, and I understand Latiffi's one of Latiffi's biggest fans, because obviously if you live in Canada and he's a Canadian, you're going to be a fan, aren't you? It's the same as in England. There's lots of fans of Lewis Hamilton. Let's just move on now. Let's just move on. Now, as I say, I don't know whether he's going to answer because this is completely unrehearsed. So this may blow up in my face, but we will find out. Come on, Dominic, you're live on Hookster Talks. Opportunity here for you to be famous, rich and famous. Girls falling at your feet. He does like a nice girl to fall at his feet. Yes, yes. He's very into all that, is old Dominic. Yes. The only disgrace on the grid driving, though. I quite agree, Scott. Quite agree. And he's not going to answer, is he? He's not going to answer, everyone. Oh my God. Well, unfortunately, I say it wasn't rehearsed. Because I just saw what everyone was saying about Latiffi and thought I'd include it in the title of the video. So, yes, there was no time to rehearse this. So it looks like he's not going to answer. His shot at fame has now dissolved. Now, he gets another shot at fame later if he actually joins the main Facebook chat when we go to that a little bit later. But at the moment, it looks like it's nil par for Dominic Orlando. Yes, he's failed, everyone. Absolutely bloody failed. Unbelievable scenes. Biblical scenes, in fact. Biblical scenes, as a certain F1 YouTuber would say. Yes, called Arava. As everyone knows, I am Arava's biggest fan. Yes, biggest fan. Absolutely. Love his stuff. I watch every single video intently. In fact, I dissect it frame by frame, every single video, looking for the edit mark. I mean, looking for the superb presentational skills of the great man himself. Yes, great man himself. So well done to Arava. And yes, it looks like Mr. Orlando, unfortunately, will not be answering the phone at the moment. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. We'll just leave it a little bit longer because, you know, if you remember that famous stream from a few weeks ago when we actually called him on the toilet. Now, most people, of course, wouldn't have answered the phone on the toilet, but most people is not Dominic Orlando who did answer the phone while on the toilet. Yes, actually on the toilet. Unbelievable scenes. Yes. I still can't get the memory of that out of my head, to be honest, but it was an actual thing. Go check it out. I can't remember which stream it was. It was about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, but yeah, it was an actual thing that happened. Okay, so we're going to cancel that because we got no answer. No answer. So, in the words of the Chuckle Brothers, to me, to you, to me, to you, to me, to me. That's it. We've got it. So, what was the title of the video? Oh yes, should Latiffi be sacked immediately by Williams? Well, pretty much, possibly. He was completely outshone by Nick de Vries, it has to be said. So, yeah. But, I mean, this has happened before where someone's come in to an F1 seat out of nowhere and done very, very well. So, the fact that we're all asking for Latiffi's head is probably a bit overstating the fact. I mean, if Nick comes back for a couple more races, which might be possible for one more, depending on Alex Albon, of course, because everybody probably knows by now that unfortunately, after an operation for Alex's appendix, he actually went into cardiac arrest afterwards due to complications from the anaesthetic. Now, I have been reading about this, and he is absolutely fine right now. He was put on a ventilator overnight, but he was taken off it the next morning. So he was only on the ventilator for a very, very short time, which is great news, because the longer you're on a ventilator for, the longer it takes you to recover. So that's great news for Alex Albon. Completely unexpected, I would have thought, for everyone concerned, because an appendix operation is pretty much what you'd call routine these days. There's not really anything that to be expected from complications, but of course this was a complication that came after the operation, so the operation was already performed. It was afterwards with the anaesthetic, of course. But you know, these things do happen. It's quite a rare occurrence. Even they've said that it was quite a rare occurrence for it to happen. So, but it looks like, yeah, he's going to be okay. I'm not too sure about the next race, but I mean, we've got a couple of weeks, so he should be okay. And of course, don't forget, he's a top level athlete, so he will recover from things a lot faster than us mere mortals could. Yes, us mere mortals. I mean, if that had happened to us, we'd probably still be lying in our beds for the next 3 months trying to. But you know, Alex is top of the line sportsman, so he will be back very, very quickly. I'm not saying 100% he'll be back for the next race, but he will most likely be back for the race after that, definitely, for sure. So yeah, I wish all the best to Alex Albon, and hope that he recovers quickly and gets back in that Williams, which I have to say, he's been really shining in that car this year, has Alex, really shining in that car. I mean, he's got points in the Williams. I didn't even think I'd say that in 2022, to be honest, but yes, he's got points in the Williams. So well done to Alex, and I wish you a speedy recovery, and hopefully you'll be back for the next Grand Prix. And if you are, then that'll be great to see indeed. Unfortunately, in life, things happen. You can't go from life at 0 age until whatever age for not something to happen. So Alex has had something that's happened to him, and he'll get past it, and he will be absolutely fine and back in that Williams car. So we all here at Hookster Talks, well, here when I say me, that's only, well, me and the bear, wish him a speedy recovery and hope that he comes back into Formula One very, very quickly. So yes, Latiffi, should he stay or should he go? Well, it hasn't really been this performance, has it, of Nick de Vries that has sort of put the nail in Latiffi's coffin. He really hasn't been on it for the whole of the season at Williams, has he? Really hasn't been there. I mean, he just drifts around at the back of the grid, to be honest. Qualifying's always pretty much back of the grid as well, isn't it? So he really hasn't done enough to quantify keeping that seat, I have to say. But we will see. We don't know what the situation is with sponsors or anything like that. We don't know if Nicholas Latifi actually brings any money into Williams for driving for them. So if that's the case, then obviously that's one of the reasons why they keep him around, because of course Williams are always going to be in financial trouble due to the fact of things that have happened over the last few years. So they need whatever cash they can get. So if they're getting any from Latiffi, that's the reason why he's sticking around. Unfortunately, it happens in a lot of sports, not just Formula One, but that's just the way it goes. But should he disappear? Yeah, probably should do, and they should probably replace him with Nick de Vries, to be honest. I'm very surprised because I haven't followed Nick de Vries' career very much at all, because as I say, I mainly stick to Formula One. I'm very surprised he's 27 years old and didn't actually get into Formula One. That seems very surprising to me. He's the what's that funny little thing they drive around in electric go-karts? What's that thing called? Is it the E-Series? I don't watch it. No, I don't watch it. I can't watch it because my dad used to be a milkman. Yeah. And the noise that they make when they go, it just reminds me of the old days, because he used to take me around in his milk float. We used to go around and deliver all the milk to all the old ladies, yeah, in the milk float, back when I was only sort of knee-high. I was only about 7 years old. And so just watching that just reminds me of those days, so I can't watch it. I'm sorry. If they put petrol engines in them, then but that's possibly not the point of the series, is it? But no, but if they put petrol engines in, I'll be watching it every single time it's on. But at the moment, I just can't, because I say they sound like milk floats. Yeah, the way. Great to see. But hopefully not the future of Formula One, because the day Formula One goes electric is the day Dave will stop watching Formula One for good. That's it. I'm done. If they come up with some sort of hybrid system, then I'll still be there. But as long as there's still an engine in that car, an engine that runs on gasoline for the Americans or petrol for the English, I'll be there. But as soon as it goes electric only, no, because that to me is not Formula One. It's supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport, and that does not include putting a stupid bloody electric engine in the back of it. No, that is not the pinnacle of motorsport. That is, as I say, just a milk float. Yes, on wheels, going rather fast. There you go. So yeah, I haven't been following Nick de Vries' career a lot, I have to say. So I'm very surprised at 27 that he didn't actually get in, and he was actually passed over by one of the other drivers who's currently in Formula One. I can't remember who it is. But yeah, and he actually did a little bit worse than Nick de Vries apparently. So, curious, but as we know, there's very few seats in Formula One, and if you get the opportunity, you have to go for it. And sometimes it doesn't work out for everyone. It didn't work out, obviously, for Nick de Vries, because he still hasn't got into F1. Well, I say still, he's done some good auditions for the fact that he may be in F1 in the future. I'd love to see him actually get a full-time seat in 2023. That would be excellent. I don't know where he'd go, apart from replacing Latiffi, of course. But as I say, we don't know what's happening there. But I'd like to see him somewhere else. Maybe in the Haas could be a possibility. I don't know what's happening with K-Mag, but his form since the start of the season has definitely dropped off to it's really dropped off to pretty much nothing now, isn't it? I don't even hear about anything K-Mag does in any of the races over the past few months. So I don't know what's happened to his form. He's really got into a little slump, and maybe he should sort of, pack it in now. I'm not quite sure, but maybe he should. And so, yeah, put Nick in the Haas or something. That would be quite good if Mick Schumacher's still going to stay there. That would be quite a good sort of combination, I would have thought, because you've got Nick very, very hungry, and you've got Mick who, I don't know about Mick. I've never actually rated him that highly, to be honest. Just because you're the son of a great motivating champion does not equal the same thing that you're going to be as good as well. I mean, look at Bruno Senna. He did pretty much nothing in everything that he did. I mean, he was pretty hopeless. Yeah, all right, fair enough. He was in a rubbish car. But he was still, your brilliance will always shine through, even if you're in a rubbish car. I mean, look at Schumacher. He was in that 91 Benetton, wasn't he? Just for 6 laps or whatever it was before it broke down. But that was enough to get him in a team. That was enough, because his brilliance had already shone through. But Bruno Senna, there's just nothing, really. Just really nothing. Really nothing. So it doesn't equal that if you're the son or the cousin, uncle, whatever of a famous F1 driver, that you're going to be just as good. Yeah. The name doesn't mean anything. No, you can call yourself a Senna all you like. it's your abilities on track that matters the most. And if you can't cut it, then it makes no difference. I mean, a classic example of that is Ralf Schumacher, of course, who came into the sport a lot later than Michael did, although he was doing the junior stuff, but he did come in a lot later. He did very well in his first sort of few years. I mean, Ralph in the Jordan in '97 was very good indeed, and he just seemed to get better and better. But then towards the end of his career, he tailed off horribly because he was in sort of good cars, midfield runners, and then he of course he went to Toyota, which was a serious mistake to go to Toyota. I mean, when he was in the BMW Williams, which were doing pretty decent, as to be said in those days, to actually drop yourself into a Toyota, which was a new team coming in, and although they had the heritage of the fact that they were Le Mans winners, that also doesn't equal the fact that you're going to go into Formula One and start doing exactly the same thing. And that's exactly what happened with Toyota. Toyota did absolutely nothing in Formula One whatsoever. Nothing of merit. They came in with all the money in the world and said they were going to conquer everyone, a bit like BAR did with Jacques Villeneuve. That also didn't come to fruition. That was just ridiculous. I remember the boss of BAR, I can't remember his name, I think it was Craig Scarf, I don't know. Anyway, he came in and said that for the 1999 season, BAR was going to win their first race. That was the bolster that he put out to everyone, that BAR win their first race. And of course, it didn't happen. Nowhere near it. And BAR, for the first few years, were really not very good at all. Of course, they absolutely pissed off Bernie Ecclestone when they ran the two-sided liveries on the car with the two different sponsors with that huge zip that went up through the middle. I mean, as Martin Brundle said, there's only two things that you shouldn't do. One is annoy Bernie Ecclestone, and two is annoy Bernie Ecclestone. Yes. And that was it. He was so pissed off with that. There was nothing you could do about it, unfortunately. But the car just looked horrible. And that was because they wanted to run the two cars with the two different liveries of the two tobacco sponsors. But Bernie put his foot down and said, no, you can't run two cars with different liveries. That's not, it's a team sport, and both cars have got to be the same livery. And so BAR planned this from the start, that they wanted to run two cars with different liveries, but no, they were shot down. So their only alternative was to have the car with half of the livery on each side, which was absolutely ridiculous. I think it was Japan, they were allowed to run the other livery, so they run both their cars with the other livery on, which I actually preferred the other livery to the original one, to be honest, but there you go. But yeah, BAR, absolute crap. Toyota were the same. They were just they did nothing, and then they just left with their tail between their legs and never came back because just didn't do a thing in Formula One. And it happens. But anyway, so as I was saying, Latifi, he probably needs to go, but whether he will or not, due to money concerns, I've really no idea. But we will see. Anyway, that was a pretty decent Grand Prix last time out. Pretty decent? Possibly. Yeah, it was all right. Apart from the last bit, of course, which has got everyone going crazy and losing their shit. Now, before I continue, I've just noticed the messages. So we're going to go to messages. Because as I say, I don't like to leave the messages too long. Otherwise, people get bored and go, "Why haven't you looked at my message yet?" Matthew says that Williams isn't that bad. Latiffi makes it look bad. That's true. He does make it look bad. I mean, if you compare him to Alex Albon, who, as I say, is doing pretty decent in that car. Pretty decent. Just J-Mo, welcome to the stream, sir. He says, if he stays, there will be trouble. Yes, there will. Matthew says, Verstappen's on a 5-race winning streak and has won 11 out of 16 races this season, despite Leclerc having more pole positions. Yes, Maxi Boy Verstappen, I have to say, has done bloody well, and I do believe if he wins the next race, he will be world champion. If I've got my maths correct, which I'm not sure, but that's what I've been hearing anyway. If he wins the next race, he will be world champion. I don't even think that matters where everyone else finishes. It's just if he gets those 25 points, he'll be world champion. With still, I think, is it 5 or 6 races left to go? Is that a record? I'm not sure. I remember Michael Schumacher won one with 5 races still to go, so I'm not quite sure. We'll have to. Anyway, I'm just surmising because we haven't got to that stage yet. Something might happen to Max in the next race, and he might not get any points. So that'll open it up into the next round again. So yeah, but at the moment, I think if he wins the next race, he will be world champion. The Moaning Yorkshireman's in the stream. Hello, sir. Welcome along. Welcome along. Member for 14 months. Oh my God, you get less than that for robbery, don't you? Really? Yeah. They just, they stick you in for a year, don't they? So yeah, all right, let him out now. Yeah, yeah. He only nicked a packet of licorice all sorts, so we can't really keep him in much longer, can we? Yeah, it's only licorice all sorts. Hello, Plynor Plessy. Welcome to the stream. Have you seen the Queen's funeral being? Now, I'm glad you said that, sir. I'm glad you said that. I'll just get you into a little bit of Dave's world. You see, when I get up, I have a sandwich to eat. Okay, and while I'm eating said sandwich, I have the television on. Now my television is permanently stuck on Sky News. It's not stuck. I can change the channel whenever. It's not stuck. But what I mean is it's on Sky News, because what I do is I put the telly on, and just watch Sky News while I'm eating my sandwich for my lunch. And I switch it off, and then that's it. So I get 5 minutes of Sky every day, purely for the fact that if the world's just about to explode in a fireball, I'd like to know about it. I wouldn't like to, get up and not have me sandwich and not know about it. So that's purely. But as for Sky, no, I can't be bothered with it whatsoever. It's a complete load of bullshit. You'll probably all know this, but Sky every weekend for the past, God knows, because it always seems to be when I've had my sandwich that this is on, has been doing that report from Ukraine, and it's been the same report that they did like nearly 6 months ago when it first, sorry, I can't say it properly, can I? Because otherwise I might get banned on YouTube. You know what happened. They're still doing that report from then, and they repeat it on a Saturday and they repeat it on a Sunday. And it's exactly the same program. They've been doing that for months and months. So I am very glad, not very glad, but I'm glad that at least there's something else to watch. So yeah, I've been watching the Queen. So let's get back into. Have you seen the Queen's funeral is being aired on every Sky channel on Monday, even the sports channels? And I thought ITV having it on all their channels was bad, but this is worse. Yeah, I must admit that's a little bit too far, Sky. A little bit too far. I mean, at least you're guaranteeing coverage of everywhere, 'cause everyone everywhere who's got Sky will have that to watch and nothing else. But yeah, I don't understand putting it on the sports channels. What the hell has that got to do with anything? I mean, you've got a 24-hour rolling news channel for one thing. Surely you could have just put it on there. Maybe put it on Sky News and Sky One, or whatever it's called now, Sky Max and Sky Showcase. I can see the reasoning behind that, because they are supposed to be your most popular channels. So putting it on those 3 channels, I can understand. But put it on every single channel, I don't even get the logic in why you'd want to do that. Why would you even want to do that? As for ITV, same there. ITV1 and ITV2, that would be fine to have it on there. But if they're going to put it on ITV, I don't see the logic in that either. That's. But there you go. That's the world we live in these days. That's the world we live in. Got to be everywhere. But yeah, I don't get the logic in putting it on every single channel. Now, obviously, this is something that only happens. Well, we had it 21 years ago, didn't we? With what's her name, the Queen's mother. I can't remember her name. The Queen's mother. We had it then, didn't we? 21 years ago, and it certainly wasn't as big as this. But of course, the Queen was regarded a lot more highly, unfortunately. But you know, that's the way it was. That's the way it was. So yeah, but it just seems a little bit excessive. I mean, they didn't even do that for Diana, did they? No, they definitely didn't do that for Diana. In fact, I found it very, very difficult at times when she died to actually find any news about that while it was actually happening. I think it was on like the main news channels, the BBC and Sky, but everywhere else didn't seem to have much info about that. So it seems a weird decision. I mean, the stupid thing is, if you think about it, this could all happen again in another 20 years because Charlie's 76. Prince Charles is 76. He hasn't got that long to go before he's gone. And then, I don't know who's next. Is it Wills? Is it Wills? I hope it's Wills. I hope it's not Harry. No, it's going to be Wills. He's the oldest, isn't he? So it'll be William. Now, when William takes over, that will hopefully last a long time then, because he'll only possibly be in his 40s. So he should go, 40s, 50s, 60s. Yeah, he should be talking about a 40-year reign. But as for Prince Charles, I mean, it's just no. It's he's not gonna live forever, and the men always die before the women anyway. So he's 76, 86, 96. If he lives another 20 years, he'll be the same age as his mum, and he'll be gone as well. But it's very doubtful he'll live 20 years. So yeah, then we'll have to go through all this again. But I have to say, when that happens, that Prince Charles will not be held in the same regard as his mum. He's just such a moaning bastard, isn't he? And have you heard today that he's sacked some of the staff at Clarence House? While his mum's being dragged up and down the mall on the back of that coffin, he sacked some of his staff at Clarence. He's given them all a letter saying, "Thank you, your services are no longer required." What a prick. Honestly, what a prick. Who on earth would do that right now? Unbelievable. At least give it a couple of weeks till all this dies down. Start sacking people straight. I'm guessing, because they're at Clarence House, I'm guessing extra staff were required to manage the Queen. I'm guessing, and they're no longer required. But holy crap. Why would you do that now? While your own mum's being dragged up the bloody mall on the back of that coffin? Why would you even sit down and think about that and think, oh yeah, we'll have to get rid of them? Christ's sake, just leave it a little while before you start sacking people. Christ. She's only been gone a week, for God's sake. Unbelievable. But that is Prince Charles, a monumental prick. Honestly, a monumental prick. I mean, we won't even go into the Diana debacle and his old horse face, whatever her name is, Camilla Parker Bowles or whatever. We won't even go into that. And that thing when he was signing that book the other day and the pen was leaking, he's going, "Oh, the pen's leaking, the pen, oh, horrible pen, horrible pen." Oh, for fuck's sake. You know what? The only reason he had cause to complain was because he's got one of those bloody massively expensive, stupid ass pens. Look, here, Charlie, see this? It's a pen, mate, okay? Writes perfect. You don't need that Ponzi ass crap. This is a pen. I think it's a Bic, and I think you get 10 for £1. That's what you need, mate. It's a fucking pen. That's all it is. You fucking arsewipe with your bloody, oh, the pen's leaking, oh, horrible, oh, it's all smelly and horrible. Yeah, we'll get one of these. That'll sort you out. Look, it still writes perfect, Yeah. It's not a quill, for fuck's sake. It's just a pen. So, yeah, Charlie. Do you think I'm not going to get knighted now? Do you think I've blown my knighthood chances? I think I have. But he's just a monument. He just, every time I look at him on screen, I just comes into my brain straight away. Monumental prick. Yeah, I mean, he just is. Honestly. That's one of the reasons I'm so sad that the Queen has gone, because she did a bloody good job of keeping that prick off the throne, and now she's gone, he's there, and we've just got to deal with it. Yeah, we've just got to deal with it. But he's just, oh my God. I wouldn't give him the time of day, let alone have him as king. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't give him the time of day. But there you go. And don't forget, everyone, now I'm going to get sacked by YouTube. Don't forget, everyone, an adulterer. Our king now, an adulterer. Yeah. That seems to have been sort of sidelined and sort of pushed out of everyone's minds, hasn't it? All we got to remember now is the king. He's our king. Yes, an adulterous king. But of course, not as bad as everyone else in the royal family. They've done far, far worse than that. Good evening, Andrew. But yes, that's our king now. And that's my knighthood gone out the window. There you go. Final Pletty says, I've been waiting for De Vries to go into F1 ever since he was in that McLaren series. Tuned. Took him 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. I can't believe it. 27 years old and he still hasn't gone into Formula 1. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But there are the... Saying that, of course, don't forget Damon Hill. He was very late to Formula 1, wasn't he? But he did do a lot of motorbike stuff before that, didn't he? So, but he was very late to Formula 1. But these days, the way modern stuff works, it is very surprising that Nick hasn't got into F1. And very sad, because there's obviously a talent there, but he hasn't got the opportunity. Matthew says, the only competitive F1 2022 driver slower than Latiffi is a driver called the Hookster, unfortunately. Laughing face emoji from Matt. Thank you, Matt. Very kind. You're right. You're actually right. I am worse than Nicholas Latifi. I admit it. Yes. I am well past my sell-by date. In fact, my exploration date was June the 1st, 1956. Yeah, 1956. That was when I should have gone, but I'm still here. So that's the breaks you get, unfortunately. Matthew says, apparently the W Series cars are slower than F3 cars, but just about faster than F4 cars. So surely Chadwick should go to F3 rather than straight to F2, which some fans claim. I think she should. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about this Jamie Chadwick. None of them good. Apparently she's slower than Carmen Jordan, which is a mean stretch, I have to say. A mean stretch. But yeah, apparently she's slower than Carmen Jordan. So we will see. Final says, I bet Verstappen will break the record of 9 wins in a row. Well, I hope he does, because that's a record that's been a long time now, and I would like to see that kind of record broken. I've spoken before about Lewis Hamilton winning 8 championships and beating Michael Schumacher, and I've said before that I don't want that to happen. I want them to be equal on 7 and to have those records, as they are. I wouldn't like Lewis to win the 8th championship. I can't see that now that it's going to happen, to be honest, with Lewis Hamilton. I think his time is almost at an end, so I don't think it's going to happen, and I'm very happy about that. But winning 9 in a row is something that is achievable by anyone, and really doesn't matter in the terms of history. So I would love to see Verstappen do that. Yeah, that'd be great. Just James has had this debate already. If any women were good enough, they would have a drive. It's true. I know what you're saying, Jamie, and I agree with you. Yeah. If they were good enough, they would have a drive. I mean, surprisingly enough, the closest one that actually got there was Carmen Jordan, because she ended up as a development driver at Renault. Yes, at Renault. And at the time, Jolly Off Palmer was there as well. Yes. And she was very good friends with Jolly Off Palmer. Yes. And I do believe Pastor Maldonado. Yes, very good friends with Pastor. Well, more good friends with his girlfriend or wife, it may be now, I'm not too sure. But yeah, so there were rumours that could have helped to have got the actual development job at Renault. But here's the problem I had. Apparently, she never actually turned a wheel in the Renault. It was all on the simulator. Now, of course, we know about the debacle about that driver who came out on Twitter and said that she was like 7 seconds off the pace or whatever. We know all about that. That's ancient history now. But I just find it peculiar that they never got her out in that car at all. Why? There's lots and lots of free practice sessions she could have gone out in. Susie Wolff went out in the Williams in the free practice sessions in that car. So why didn't they give that to Carmen Jordan? There's got to be a reason. Is that reason because they knew in their own minds that she wasn't even good enough to go out, and it was basically she was just employed for publicity because at that time she was popular, not through good reasons, through bad reasons, but as I say, good publicity, bad publicity is all publicity. It doesn't really matter. So that could have been the reason why they took her on. The other sort of strange fact is that she never actually sort of left the team. She sort of just drifted away from them. She was at Renault and then she sort of went away. The team never said, oh, we're not going to renew her contract for next year. They didn't say anything. They didn't say a thing. She just sort of drifted off. She then ended up as the Renault ambassador. Yes. I've no idea what that means. I don't even know what that job entailed. But yeah, she ended up as the Renault ambassador in, I think, the 27th season. But she still insisted she was the development driver as well. But as far as I understand, she didn't do a single bit of development driving in the simulator in 2017. It was only in 2016. So it was all very, very strange. Very, very strange indeed. But yes, as Jamie says, if you're good enough, you will get in to Formula One. Doesn't matter if you've got big tits in front of you or tiny little. Because I was trying to do a clever joke there, but it completely failed. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're good enough, you will get in. So the reason why we haven't seen any women in F1 is because, although it pains me to say it, and I'm a great supporter of them, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. That's why they're always on the fringes, always on the outside, doing other forms of motorsport which aren't Formula One, because they're just not good enough. I'm very sad to say that. I would love to see a female in Formula One racing against Max Verstappen. Will it ever happen? I don't think so. It's never going to happen in my lifetime, I'll tell you that for nothing. It may be in about 40 years you might get someone come over, I don't know, some Japanese woman might suddenly turn up on the scene and be super fast and, you know, could be world conquering. Who knows what can happen in the future? But at the moment, it's just not going to happen. It's just never going to happen, unfortunately. And I'm very, very sad about that because, as I say, I still say it's nothing to do with physicality. And a lot of women that haven't got into Formula One sort of use that excuse about physicality, but I don't believe it. I mean, you're getting subjected to the G-forces like a man's getting subjected to so it's the same G-forces. And so I don't subscribe. And let's not forget that these F1 cars, there's a lot of systems on board to help you these days. I mean, you know, they got power steering for one thing. So a lot of the female drivers used to complain sort of F2 and F3 that they haven't got power steering. So they're really heavy cars to turn, which is fair enough. But as I say, in F1, you've got power steering. So that's not really an issue of, you know, the cars being heavy to turn and whatever. And as I've said this lots of times in the past, yeah, there is nothing that a woman cannot do. Nothing at all, except maybe something very, very physical in maybe the armed forces where it's required that you need that muscle bulk of a man. But that's just, a 1% case. In any other case, 99%, there's nothing that a woman cannot do. So the reason why they're not in Formula One is purely down to ability, and they just haven't got that ability to be up there with the best. It's a shame. But as I say, there's nothing to say it couldn't happen. I mean, look at women's tennis. I mean, Serena Williams and whatever, unbeatable. But could she have beaten a man? Well, this has been long contested, and the answer to that still has to be probably not. I mean, they do all these sort of pretend sort of matches to match up against men, don't they, to see if it is possible, but no one's actually done it in a real sort of professional situation, so it's, we don't know. But against a man, probably not. No, probably not. But as I say, I hope in the future we will get a female Formula One world champion. But at the moment, it's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen because it's just not good enough. Right. The irony of the Queen's funeral being simulcast on Sky Comedy. Yes, that is pretty ironic. Queen's funeral on Sky. I just hope they're not going to have the little ident in the corner of the screen saying Sky Comedy, because that will be taking the piss. Yeah, hopefully they'll remove that. Usually for these kind of things, I remember for Diana's funeral, they remove all the idents, so there's nothing on the screen apart from the actual thing. So that should be good. But yeah, it'd be funny if someone actually forgets to do that, though, would it? And the whole thing goes up with Sky Comedy in the corner. Well done, Sky. Just a big, ain't that a female swan? I don't know, mate. I don't know my pens. I got these, I think, off of online, about £10 for. I think they're £1 each. I don't know, something like that. I can't tell you what they're called. I've thrown the packet away. But yeah, they're cheap pens. They do the job. Unlike Charles and his, my pen's leaking. Fucking pompous prick. Honestly. Unbelievable. Should get me in charge of the monarchy. I'll sort them out. Bloody load of tossers. Hate to say, but when the Queen died, first thing I did was play The Queen is Dead by the Smiths. Yes, well, a lot of people did. My YouTube exploded with videos about, I can't say it on air, but God, the Queen. You know what the middle word is, don't you? Yeah, there was loads of them. Loads of them popped up, and I was like, what? Even channels I'm sort of, because I am subscribed to quite a few obscure channels. Yeah, not channels that are mainstream but obscure. And quite a few of them popped up in my feed. And I was like, what? I don't even remember what these people do. What do they do? So I had to go and have a look to see what it is. But yeah, it was nothing else to do with the Queen or anything like that. But they just thought, oh, well, I'll randomly upload this video saying God the Queen. So I thought, okay. Anyway, as I've said in the past, this is a free country. Thankfully, well, it was a free country. I have serious doubts it is anymore, but it's supposed to be. It's a lot more freer than that other big country that I can't mention anyway. Yeah. And because of that, it means people are free to express themselves in any way they seem fit. And whether I agree with it or whether I don't agree with it is immaterial. If you want to express yourself in that way, then you can. And especially talking about this, everyone's probably seen the video by now about the ginger twat who heckled Prince Andrew as he's walking along saying, "You're a dirty old man." And someone put in the YouTube comments, no, he was a dirty young man. But yeah, I've got nothing against that at all. If that little ginger twat decided that's what he wanted to do, then fine. I think the protection officers were a little bit excessive in the way that they brought him down. If you actually watch that in slow motion, you will see the jacket, the yellow jacket of the protection officer, and he absolutely pummels into this little ginger twat, and he goes down like a sack of spuds in like seconds. It was just unbelievable. I think that was a little bit excessive for a little ginger twat, I must admit. A little bit excessive, but that's our protection officers for it. Of course, they don't know. He could have been some nut job, and he could have had a pistol there or whatever, couldn't he? Very surprised that people aren't checked for that. I mean, I don't know. Perhaps they are, but there's a lot of people there, and but of course he was just saying something. So you're not going to be able to. You can only check for weapons. You're not going to be able to check that someone's actually going to stand up and shouting at someone, are you? So you can't really say anything about that. But yeah, I thought it was great that they brought the little ginger twat down very, very quickly. But as I say, on the flip side of that, he's free to express himself exactly how he wants, and it was great to see. And I did actually give out a little chuckle because I thought it was quite funny. I just cannot believe that the royal family, the rest of them, thought that was a good idea. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe that they thought, oh, well, nothing's going to happen. We'll let him go. I mean, unbelievable. I wouldn't have even had him anywhere near the place. This is supposed to be a funeral and a celebration of the Queen's life. And once again, it's overshadowed by that dirty little pedo. Yes, dirty little pedo. I don't care what you say. If you give £12 million to someone, or $12 million, I don't care what you say, you're guilty. Why on earth would you give $12 million to anyone if you're not guilty? It's exactly the same as Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was guilty. He gave that money to, who was it, Macaulay Culkin, to clean himself of being found accountable. And that's what you do. People of privilege can get out of being made accountable for their actions purely by spending the cash. And that is wrong. Absolutely. 100% wrong. There's a line in this world, and a lot of people know where that line is. If you don't cross that line, then you end up going through life the same as everyone else, all of us, There's always that line, and we don't cross it. Unfortunately, for people like him, he has no understanding of where that line is, and so he crosses it. He crosses it mostly because he's in an element of privilege, and so he knows that if he gets into trouble, he will get bailed out. So that's why a lot of people with power and money end up doing the things that they do. I mean, look at Epstein. If you go back at Epstein, I mean, Jesus Christ, they financed most of the big Hollywood films in the 90s. Lots of Tarantino films were financed by the Epsteins. Unbelievable. And so, there was money there all the time, and that gives you that security to actually cross that line. The line that most of us normal people know not to cross. He crossed it. So did Prince Andrew. We all know Prince Andrew was guilty. Whatever he says, denies, or I just paid $12 million just because I didn't want the ads. No, the reason he paid the money is because if he didn't, it would have gone to court and he would have gone to jail. Plain and simple, he would have gone to jail. So he paid the money so he didn't have to go to jail. And the same thing happened to Michael Jackson. He paid the money so he didn't have to go to jail. Both of those two should have ended up in jail. If you do the crime, you must do the time. And there's no excuses. There's absolutely no excuses. That's why I say that, if you're a normal person, you've got morals, we all do stuff that's dancing around the line a little bit, everyone does it. But everyone who's got a brain in their head knows that you don't cross that certain line. Once you do, well, you've only got yourself to blame. And it's just unfortunate that the day was spoiled for the Queen by that knobhead, absolute knobhead. As I say, he should now be in jail. He shouldn't even be walking around anywhere. He should be in jail with all the other ones from times gone past. The Savills, he died, didn't he? So he never got a chance to even be in jail. But I would have loved to have seen him in jail for about 10 years. I doubt if he would have survived more than 5 minutes, to be honest. But I would have just loved to have seen him in jail for, a considerable amount of time. Rolf Harris, he's another one. Rolf Harris, I mean, Jesus Christ, he was everyone's childhood. He was my childhood, was Rolf Harris. Absolutely loved, tying me kangaroo down. Absolutely loved it. And all them Radio 1 disc jockeys, they were my youth. Most of them are in jail now, or dead. All because of, historical sex offences for children. It's just ridiculous. It really is. Absolutely ridiculous. Unfortunately, when it's in regard to children, I just can't even understand the mentality. I don't even get anything about that. So I'm not even going to comment on that. I just don't get it. It's so far out of my scope of understanding. I just don't get it. So yeah, I can't comment because I don't get it. Unfortunately, I've never had the chance to get in yet. I know, Matt, you will. Don't worry. So DC was right. Yes, he was. He was right. Yeah, and he got a lot of comments about that, saying, shut up, DC, shut up. Yes, silly old twat. You know what you're talking about. But yeah, I do believe he was right. He does get a lot of stick, as old DC, but some of the stuff he says is pretty decent. That's where Dave gave DC his nickname. Yes, David Twat Coulthard. Yes. He basically got that nickname after 1998, that beautiful Spa race in the wet, yes, which he tried to blame Eddie Irvine for years after that. No, it wasn't my fault, it was Eddie's. It wasn't my fault. But clearly, if you look at the video, which I'm sure everyone here who's watching this has seen the video because it's just a master of F1 content that everyone's seen, you'll see quite clearly that Eddie Irvine had nothing to do with that whatsoever. But there you go. That was DC for you. Jamie says Jess Hawkins about the only one who can drive, but even then her driving skills don't translate to single-seater so well. Yeah. Scott says, yeah, probably. Wow, just Jamie, welcome, sir. Welcome to the Hookster is Jesus account. Wow, you're famous. Wow, that's it. Now, you've probably seen my welcome video now, yes, which is well worth the entrance price. Yes, well worth it. You won't get anything else. That's it, yeah. Plano Plessy says, yes, BBC have a history of employing these types of people. Savis, Saville, Harris, Gary Glitter. Now, there's another one. I'm not going to go into that. Dave Lee Travis. Yeah, Dave Lee. The Hairy Cornflake. There's another one. My childhood, I grew up with Dave Lee Travis. I thought he was one of the best DJs on Radio 1. But let's go back to radio. Back in those days, Radio 1 was like the big thing. Everyone... All the DJs, they were like rock stars. They were like gods. They were worshipped. They were adored. Now we know why. But back then, yes, back then. And of course, they had the Radio 1 Roadshow every summer, which used to go around all the seaside resorts and they do their summer roadshows, which everyone adored. But if you think about it now, what do you get at a seaside? What do you get lots of at a seaside? Young people. Yeah, young people. Say no more, really. Say no more. But yeah, Radio 1. Oh, it's just... I'll say, it was my childhood. Steve Wright was the best Radio 1 DJ ever. I know he's lost it a bit the last few years, but he was Steve Wright in the after and Steve Wright in the morning. When he started, he was Steve Wright in the morning. Was just absolutely brilliant, and his comedy things with the angry man. I am very, very angry now. It was just brilliant. It's just brilliant. At that time, I was working in a warehouse, and we used to have the Steve Wright show. It was piped through the warehouse, so we used to listen to it while we were working. And so he started in Steve Wright in the morning, and every morning I used to listen to Steve Wright. He was brilliant. Now, as far as I know, I can't remember, but as far as I know, Steve Wright has avoided all of what went on with all the others. So I'm pretty sure Steve Wright was a genuine guy. I'm not so sure though. I'll probably find out in a minute he wasn't. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Steve Wright sort of, and I have to say you could probably tell that by the way he was, So yeah. Oh yeah, and Tim Westwood, yeah, I thought about that. And allegedly John Peel, yeah. Now John Peel was another one that I used to follow, avidly. He used to do like a late night show on a Friday. Very boring voice that he had, and he sort of spoke very much in monotone, but he was very enjoyable to listen to, and he did some good sort of indie stuff, not sort of like the mainstream pop music of the time. So I used to follow him as well. But yeah, as you say, allegedly, I don't think it can be proven, but yeah, allegedly John Peel as well. To be honest, with the exception, I say possibly of Steve Wright, so I'm not going to group him in with, but to be honest, I think it was all of them. I think it was a culture and a time, everyone involved in Radio 1, especially the DJs, because all of these people, let's not forget, worked for Radio 1. Jimmy's, with the exception of Harris, but he still did really, because he made records, didn't he? He made records which were on Radio 1, which meant that he would have been on Top of the Pops and stuff like that. So there was still a connection there. But every one of those others that I mentioned, see, Gary Glitter made records on Radio 1, would have turned up on Top of the Pops. Once again, Top of the Pops, full of young people. Don't forget that. And so they would have all, I'm pretty sure it was a whole culture that was there. It wasn't just a few people. I think everybody pretty much was involved in it. Very, very sad. They fooled everyone. I mean, Jesus Christ, they even fooled the Queen. Harris. I mean, he used to do a portrait, didn't he, for God's sake? Yeah, as soon as these allegations came out about the, I think it was the 9-year-old girl, wasn't it? I mean, she dropped him like a shitty stick, which is great to see. But yeah, I mean, he used to do a portrait, the Queen's portrait, not the official one. He used to do in cartoon form, didn't he? But he used to do it, yeah. So yeah, they fooled everyone. They fooled everyone because they were hiding in plain sight. They were there, right there, but none of us saw it. The only person who knew what was going on was Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols. He knew what was going on. He said about it, didn't he? Like 9 years before Savile even started to get inquiries that, he was a dirty little pedo at the BBC. He knew about it, but he was silenced. He wasn't allowed to say anything. That's ridiculous. Yes, and Johnny Rotten, I have to say, is another one of those ones that would have had nothing to do with that whatsoever. Say what you like about him. Genuine person. Absolutely, 100%. So yeah, he'd have had nothing to do with it. And he said it was, he said it was all going on, but no, just brushed under the carpet, and they fooled us all. I just find it sad that, that was my childhood, and now I look back at those times and think, when they were doing those Radio 1 road shows at the beach talking to young girls, was there ulterior? Well, yeah, there probably was ulterior motives going on after the record stopped playing. Who knows? But anyway, that's it. That's all pretty much done and dusted now. Hello. Oh bloody hell! Am I going to be able to say this name properly? Cornell Monty. I hope that's right. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Hi. Just wanted to wish you a good night. Oh well. Good night. Good night to you. Hope you have a nice sleep as well. Well done. It's all in the name. All sound like a nonce before you even think about it. Yeah, that is true. That is true, Jamie. I must admit, they all do. Yeah, yeah. Gary Glitter, especially. I mean, it just screams nonce, doesn't it? Dave Lee Travis does. Terrible, terrible. All the good Radio 1 DJs went to Radio 2, and Radio 2 has become a complete shadow of its former self. Yeah. I was around when all the Radio 1 DJs started to defect to Radio 2, and it was great for a while. Because they had a new controller come in, didn't they, for Radio 1, and they wanted to shake it up a bit, so they actually got rid of a lot of the old guard, a lot of the old DJs that were there. So they left and then went to Radio 2, and it was okay. It was like a sort of it was like a Radio 1 Part 2 in a way. It was pretty decent, but then after a while, yeah, Radio 2 started to go downhill, and I don't even listen to the radio anymore. I haven't done for years. Alienating older listeners by getting rid of the old. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Yeah. Steve Wright is supposed to be finishing in the next few weeks. Yeah, I did hear that. Now, so as I say, I'm going to come out in defence of Steve Wright. I'll say I've no basis of proof for this, but just in my own mind, I think Steve Wright was probably one of the very few people there who was a genuinely decent person. Now, I could be wrong. You never know. But out of all the people there, I think he was possibly one of the sort of last remaining decent people there, to be honest. Chris Boyle's, Jess Jones says, Chris Boyle's show on Radio 1 about 20 years ago was decent, still going XFM. Yeah, I used to listen to Chris Boyle's. Yeah, he was pretty decent, I must admit, back in the day. All that's left on Radio 2 is Ken Bruce for Scotland. They'll never take our daughters. Is it? Yes, I think so. That was on last week, wasn't it? Braveheart. Oh, I love a bit of Braveheart. Good old Melly Pops. Can't beat Melly Pops. Yep, I know. He didn't do too well in his career, did he? No, when he had that little altercation with a police officer. Anyway, let's move on. Because there's so many things YouTube I think you're going to check through this stream. I think I'm going to be in serious trouble. Only problem I have with Steve Wright is he talks over the songs. Yes, he does talk over the songs. He always used to, though, even back in the day. So it's just one of his quirks, unfortunately. But yeah, it was annoying. John Peel had a very unusual taste in music. Favourite band was The Fall. Favourite song was Teenage Kicks by the Undertones. And he had a bunch of up-and-coming and unusual artists on his show. Yes, I agree with you there. It was all... Lots of indie stuff was on there. It was quite enjoyable to listen to. I think pretty sure it was on Friday night, quite late. I think at like 11 o'clock or whatever. Because you used to have that, and before that you used to have the Tommy Vance Friday Rock Show. If anyone remembers that, yeah, the Tommy Vance. I'm really not sure about Tommy Vance, to be honest. That sounds like another name, doesn't it, Jamie? Tommy Vance. I'm not sure about him. I really, really don't think he was a good guy whatsoever. But yeah, you should have the Friday Rock Show. So Friday night was pretty good on the radio, I have to say, but not anymore. Another name to mention, Stuart Hall. Did It's a Knockout and originated Ninja Warrior Repeats on Challenge. He was being weird towards the female. Yes, I remember It's a Knockout, and I remember Stuart Hall as well. It's a Knockout used to be one of my favourite shows. I used to like when they used to dress up in the big suits and bash the life out of each other. That was a great show, It's a Knockout. But sadly, once again, Stuart Hall, yeah, another dirty old man. But there you go. Radio 2 hasn't been the same since the Terry Wogan. Good old Terry. I do miss Terry Wogan, I must admit. I do miss him. Radio 1 was never the same after Mark Allard left. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I do miss Terry, though. He was another genuine good guy. Yeah, I do know for a fact no one's ever said anything about Terry Wogan. So that was fine. Right, okay. So the last thing I want to talk about before we go to the Facebook chat is the other bit that I mentioned on my video title, which is, it was this one conspiracy too far. And we're talking just back to F1 for a minute here. Of course, was a couple of races ago, of course, it was Yuki Tsunoda who was accused of deliberately stopping his car so that Max could win. And of course, last week we now had Daniel Ricciardo, which was also accused of deliberately parking his car up so Max could win. Everyone who thinks that, you need to shut the fuck up now, okay? Because these conspiracy theories are getting well out of hand, and it's too much. It really is. It's just ridiculous to suggest that Daniel pulled his car over. Now, of course, there's been a lot of debate about this from last week, a lot of complaints from people, and I'm just going to repeat what I said. I didn't want to see the race finish on a safety car, basically because it doesn't make the end of the race very exciting. I'm pretty sure, because Daniel Ricciardo pulled that car over to the far right of the circuit, and if you look at how they go round sort of that part of the circuit, they're pretty much on the left-hand side. I think that car was so far out of the way for it not to be a danger to the other drivers. They could have just, there's only 5 laps to go, they could have just covered that with yellow flags and said to the drivers that in this section there is a car parked off to the right hand side which we cannot recover at this time, so please, just be aware, be careful. They're F1 drivers, for Christ's sake. They're not going to deliberately plough into Daniel's car, are they? Only way that would happen if there was two fighting with each other side by side. But if you've already given out the message and say, look, be sensible, and they're waving yellows, as we know, yellows means you can't pass through that section anyway, so they have to go through single file. So I think it would have been fine just to cover that off with wave yellows. A lot of people said, oh, it should have been red flagged. I don't agree with the red flag, because red flag is just a pain in the arse, because by the time you get the race up and running and started again, there's usually like 45 minutes and we're all sitting there twiddling our thumbs. It's ridiculous. So I'm really not a fan of red flags. Only red flag the race, of course, if there's been a huge crash or there's a chance that maybe there could be some sort of injury to one of the drivers. Then obviously red flag is a given. But for that, I wouldn't have wanted a red flag, because it's just a car pulling off the bloody circuit, for Christ's sake. So yeah, I think they should have just covered it with yellows, 5 laps to go, and said, right, let's go race the last 5 laps, and it would have been fine. As I say, that car was well off the line, right up against the barrier. It was not in a dangerous situation whatsoever. Unfortunately, due to things that have happened in the past, the FIA are getting a little bit too nanny in the stuff that's going on the circuit, especially with things that happened with Jules Bianchi in the past. But you got to remember that was a completely different circumstance. I mean, it was absolutely chucking down with rain. There was a huge big tractor on the track trying to recover another car, and it was just an absolutely tragic thing that happened. But this was completely different. There was no rain, it was completely dry. Daniel Ricciardo was pulled right off. I mean, in the past, cars haven't been able to be recovered and they're just left as far off to the right or the left of the circuit they can be. I've seen it loads of times, okay? And I say they've either just covered it with yellows, or sometimes they just inform the drivers and say, look, there's a car, just be careful, there's a car off. It's just the FIA being too nannying again. Just, oh my god, it's just ridiculous. It really is. 5 laps to go, you should just let them race. I'll say, if they wanted to cover it with yellows, they could have done that, and it would have been fine, and we wouldn't have got all these complaints anyway. But yeah, the fact that they said that Daniel Ricciardo did that on purpose, just shut the fuck up now, please. Shut the fuck up. It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It was just a car not working anymore, so we had to pull it over, and that's it. Latiffi would. Hello, Mr. Champ92. Welcome to the stream. Hi, race fans. Hi, Dave. Hello, everyone. Keep racing for life. Yes, indeed. That's what I say. Hamilton crashed in 2000 on the last lap of that place where Ricciardo parked up. So I understand the safety car decision. I understand that, Matt. I understand that. I say it's just my point of view. Personally, I would have just let it go under with yellow flags at that section. And I would have just, covered it off that way and just let them race, basically. That's what I would have done. Yeah, of course, as you say, Hamilton crashed at that point. There's always a chance. It could have happened again. But I think sooner or later in life, you have to take a slight risk. And I think that was a risk worth taking, to be honest, especially with just 5 laps to go. If the whole of the, if there was like 50, 60 laps left of the race, I can understand. That, they would have had to have red flagged it and whatever. That's understandable. But we've only 5 laps left. So there was only 5 opportunities for something, to have happened out of the whole race. I just don't think it warranted the reaction, to be honest. I think it just should have covered it off with yellows and let them go until the end. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. And there we go. Right, I've been waffling for 1 hour and 19 minutes now. Oh my God. We're going to go to the Facebook and see if anyone's there. If there isn't, we will call it a day. Call it a day. Because I've been rabbiting like a good one. As always. As always. Oh, excuse me. Don't forget, this is all live, so I have to get rid of lots of people. I can only call 8 at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll get rid of one. Oh, there you go. One there. Oh, we got one there as well. Oh, I seem to only have 7 people to dial. It's outrageous. No, wait a minute. 6 people to dial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's happened to my other 2? Oh well, let's include that one just in case by some miracle he answers. Oh, that's because we've lost one off of Facebook. Well, let's bring it back up to 8 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. Right. There we go. If no one answers, I'm out of here. Just pull my headphones out. Get some sound up, hopefully. There's me speakers. I can hear. Now this is the point of the show where I'm ringing and everyone knows it's ringing because their phones are ringing and they're going, nah, I can't be bothered. Nah, I'm not answering that. Nah. I'll give him a minute and he'll get fed up in a minute. I'm not going to answer it. Nah, I can't. No, I'm done, mate. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm not gonna answer it. Let's look at the comments while I'm there. Harold, I used to say that's life. There is no point about discussing the past for ages. That's quite true. What happened has happened. You can't change the past, but you can change the future, and that's how our world is working. Yes, indeed. Let's hope our futures will be a little bit better than they have been in the past few years. Let's hope so anyway. I'm always optimistic. Look at this. There's no one. I say they're all sitting there going, no, I'm not going to answer the phone, mate. I can't be bothered. No, I cannot be bothered. Can't be bothered. No. Oh, we have life. We have life at the end of the tunnel. Good evening, Donald.
What's up, Dave?
Hang on.
My bad for not being able to join the last few weeks.
Right, hello. Oh, we got double life at the end of the tunnel. Hello.
Yeah, my bad. I haven't been able to join the last few weeks.
I noticed. That unfortunately means that you can no longer subscribe to my channel because after 2 weeks it automatically gets deleted. So I'm sorry about that. It's one of those things. If you want to resubscribe, then please feel free to. But at the moment, you're not a subscriber. I'm sorry. You're not a subscriber anyway, are you? Come on, admit it.
I actually think I was subscribed.
But you're not now. You saw sense and you thought, nah, I can't be bothered with that. Can't be bothered. Good evening, Jamie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. I thought I'd just pop on because I went into the garden. I couldn't answer when I was indoors because Amy's watching something and it's really loud. So.
No problem, no problem. I've only just come on here quick because I've been waffling on for Christ's sake, 1 hour and 24 minutes. So
I was watching. I thought I'd only just come on just to disagree with you about the whole ending of the previous race. Anyway.
Oh, nice. Well, as I've said in the past, Jamie, as I've said, freedom of speech is something that I'm very much, and I'm very, very glad that you completely disagree with me. So
at least they followed. At least FIA followed the rules this time.
So I
That's
will.
all I gotta say about that.
I will shut up right now because I've done enough talking, and I shall leave the floor to both of you. So yes, Jamie, please carry on and complain about me. Go for it.
No, it's not the go. I just think they need to relook at the rules, and if they want to, all they go on about is making the sport more entertaining these days, and that's what they have been doing for the last however many years since Thingy Media took over, whatever they're bloody called.
Liberty, yeah.
There should be a race ending to a race at the end of the day, but at the same time as that, there's no point just having it one lap. There needs to be, if there's an incident, say within 5 laps remaining, then I think it does need to be red flagged and start with like say a minimum 4 5 laps or whatever. 5 laps preferably. There's no point just having one lap.
Yeah.
It's not NASCAR. It's not NASCAR. There's nothing going to happen in one lap. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if they want to appeal to more people, then have a race ending.
Mm-hmm.
End of. Because that was just stupid the other day, to be fair.
Yeah, that was my point, Jamie. Like going back, because debate was this weekend in Abu Dhabi last year. Like when Latiffi crashed, it's for a championship. Red flag it and let the guys go at it instead of all that chaos at the end.
Yeah.
And then you let half the lap cars go by, and then that's not following your rule book. So that was chaotic. And at Monza, if it took more than 2 laps to get, was it Ricardo? It was Ricardo. Whose car was it that was off?
Ricardo,
yeah, it was Danny Rick. Yeah.
That's if it took taking them more than 2 laps to get off. After the second lap, they couldn't get off. Red flag it. So we actually have a race. All I'm going to say is at least they followed the rules this weekend. I mean, they ended it but still, you should be racing but it was still stupid how that race ended.
And then with those, for instance, those 2 laps that were safety card, basically redo, say, look, we ain't, car can't be removed. We've had 2 laps of safety car. You replay it from when the safety car come out. That's the remaining laps from when the safety car come out, and actually finish the race properly.
And how did it take so long to bunch the field up? I mean, the safety car originally got to Russell, and then it was just a mess bunching the field up.
Yeah.
But I think they should do it. They do red flag races and like that. They should do it like what NASCAR does. You are not allowed to fix the car or change tires or touch the car during a red flag.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. At that stage in the race, definitely.
But that's what I think a rule needs to be changed during red flag. To not touch the car at all. Only thing you're allowed to touch is help getting the driver in and out.
Yeah, agreed. Oh God, it's cold out here.
So we will finish on the talking point I started at the beginning of the show. So I was just asked you, gentlemen, for your opinion before we go, and that is.
Yeah, I didn't see the start.
Yeah, that's all right. No, nobody does, Jamie. Don't worry about it. Nobody sees the middle either or the end. So, so the big talking point at the start was that Latiffi, should he go and be replaced by Nick de Vries?
Oh,
absolutely.
Easily. Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
mean,
only
by
the,
far, there's no defending Latifi. Like, he's by far the worst driver on the grid in my and he shows that every Albon outperforming him. Nick DeFries comes in 30 minutes on FP3 because they had to get the seat ready, so he didn't even get a full practice session in. He goes out qualifies him, and scores 2 points. While Latifi finishes like 16th or something? I don't even remember where he finished at Monza, but the point is, Nick DeFries scored points in his first ever race in a Williams, and Latifi can't even beat 5 cars.
they're being held back by their own choice, Williams, really, aren't they? Keeping him as driver. They keep on having other drivers who come in and outperformed him. It's not been that hard to see in the last few years.
Yeah, as I said at the start, I'm not sure whether Latifi actually brings any sponsorship to Williams. That might be a reason why they're keeping him on. I don't know whether he does or not. So that might be.
I'd imagine there is some sort of money coming for it. It must be something because they haven't got any money, have they? So
No, exactly. Yeah. So unfortunately, we could see Latifi next year as well.
As far as driver talent and performance, if you go off that absolutely Latifi should get the boot.
Absolutely. Oh, I agree with you.
And it's not even based on this year; it's previous years. Like, Russell's with Mercedes now, but look when Russell was with Mercedes. Williams. My bad. Latifi has been outperformed by his teammate his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Latifi's third year?
Third, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's his...
Or second, I'm not quite sure.
There's three drivers in F1 at the moment who I think are probably looking over their shoulder of whether they got a seat next year. Apart from the ones you already know that are leaving.
Yeah.
But I'd say Latifi, Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher are all kind of looking over their shoulder as to whether they'll still have a seat.
Yeah, because Alonso's going to Aston Martin. Is it?
Yeah, he is.
Where'd Piastri sign with? Was that Alpine? Or...
No, it's McLaren, isn't it? Piastri's got the
McLaren, that's right.
Yeah. Come on, you must have seen the old Piastri. Oh, I've signed. No, I haven't signed.
Yeah.
Well, we have signed. He hasn't signed.
And that's right. Ricardo's still looking for a ride.
He's doing a great job in my Haas at the minute, Piastri, on F1 Manager.
Yeah, James, speaking of F1 Manager, I'm probably going to pick that up within the next week or so.
It's so addictive once you get into it. It's actually, it's a little bit harder than what I thought to get into. But once you get past the first race and you know what you're doing and certain little bits, it's so addictive.
Yeah, like I said, I plan on getting it within the next couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah. I was I didn't know whether to laugh or cry last night when so Piastri was up to I had both my cars running about 8th and 9th, and there was already a safety car come out, and Piastri ended up behind Lewis Hamilton, and then proceeded about 5 minutes later to just basically punch Lewis off the track, but also ruined his own race. And at first I was like, yes, I knocked Lewis out of the race. Oh no, fuck, I just lost points because he was about to get points.
Yes, I would recommend F1 Manager myself. It's really not a game for an old person. I'm like I was confused as a giraffe in a bungalow at times trying to work it because I'm like, and anyone who watches Jarno Opmeer, who's the former esports champion at the moment, anyone watches his videos, and if you watch the way that he does it, it just amazes me how fast he goes through everything that's on it. I couldn't ever do it that fast, but obviously I'm not an esports driver. But yeah, it's quite. I would recommend just watching one of them, because after a while it gets a bit boring because you just want to do it yourself. But watch one of his videos and watch how fast he goes through everything. It's quite interesting. But as I say, yeah, for an old person, it's quite hard to do. But I expect for you youngsters out there, it's quite an exciting thing. So yeah, but I do recommend it. It is. And I've only done one race, and I was pretty addictive by the end of that. So yeah, it's great stuff.
You don't have to go through it. You don't have to go through it fast though. He's going through it fast for the benefit of his videos or whatever.
Oh yeah. It's obviously
But like I just play it. I take my time. I run every practice session. I run because you can just simulate them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and you can like fast forward them, right?
Yeah, but I basically just like send my drivers out for 20 laps, and I pull it on the highest speed. And then they come back in, and I send them out for another like X amount of laps on the highest speed. So I don't actually do anything apart from adjust the car settings in between their runs in the practice.
But yeah, the problem is Go ahead, Jamie.
No, so it's still good to do. I see a lot of people, they simulate them, but I don't think you get the same sort of like return in like data wise. So it don't take that long to do.
But yeah, like right now my GameStop's out of stock for F1 Manager, so I'm probably gonna wait about. I'm finishing games right now anyway that I want to finish before I start that game. But so if they don't have it back in stock by the time I go pick it up, like in a week or so, I'll probably just order it online from the GameStop's website. But I'd rather pick it up in person at the store instead.
I know, Donald. It's hard, isn't it, for you Americans to get hold of our European games?
No. Well, the problem is they got a delayed shipment to begin with, and they didn't get many copies in. So
yeah,
it's a good game. I'm still trying to figure out how Piastri's going through. Like, so basically at the minute on my one, Piastri's going through a gearbox about every 3 races. And I just can't, like, it's maybe to do with his stuff, like his attributes, as it were, on there. But that's quite annoying.
And I heard it's like realistic performance, like.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to basically win off the bat, pick Ferrari or Red Bull.
Oh yeah, of course. But I went with Haas. I got rid of Mick Schumacher straight away. Replaced him.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I got
so
rid
what
of
do
him.
What did you choose, Haas?
Yeah. So I've got Piastri and K-Mag driving for me. The reason I've done that is because of some YouTubers' videos I watched saying that if you get a decent young driver, their ability, like they've got more scope to progress, like their ability goes up more per race. So it's better to like develop a driver if you're at a similar level. Like if you're one of the top teams, you don't want a 72 rated driver. But between choosing Mick Schumacher, who was rated 75, and Piastri was rated 72, and he's about 3 or 4 years younger or whatever, it made sense to get Piastri so I can develop him quicker.
Well, I've got some good news for you, Jamie, because I've seen on Twitter today that there is a huge update, I think next week or the week after, for F1 Manager. And this is the bit I like the most. It said, and I quote, "We listened to our customer feedback."
Ooh.
This is definitely not a Codemasters game, is it? We listened to our customers' feedback, and next week, or it might be the week after, there's an update for F1 Manager.
I believe it's next week because I see something about it yesterday.
Yeah. So there you go.
Because they actually done on Twitter, they done one of those MySpace things, what you can listen to.
Yeah.
So the developers were on Twitter speaking about it yesterday for about 15-20 minutes.
I just thought that was just brilliant. You know, we have listened to our customers. I'm sure that was a sly little dig at Codemasters, but I just thought it was brilliant. It really was, because I've never ever seen that from Codemasters. I mean, what have we got today from Codemasters? Another patch for F1 22, because apparently a lot of people's save files have been corrupted
Again?
due to the last.
Didn't we just install one
Yeah,
earlier in the week?
now we got a hot fix patch, Donald, because apparently it's been crashing a lot of people's save files, and so they've had to release a hot fix just for that.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned on I had my PlayStation on earlier, nothing. I turned it on about 20 minutes ago, and it popped up.
Yeah.
I did wonder about that.
Yeah, it's only a hot fix,
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's going
not
to be tiny. Going to be tiny.
I'm not getting on it today. I probably won't turn mine on until tomorrow morning when I get off work. So, since I work overnights in the U.S., so I usually get on for a little bit when I get home from work. So I'll probably turn it on and install, update the game then.
Well, EA, they're brilliant at making games as well.
They are. I quite agree.
And you can tell they're micro hungry, because even when Codemasters was sold, game, when you got the VIP package, you got all the 30 tiers, not just tiers 1 through 5, then 5 through 10, sets of 5. You got the whole thing for like the first season. EA in charge, they break it up, so you have to spend more coins.
Yep.
I hate
EA,
microtransactions.
EA, I think, are the only company who, since technology's got better, have made their games worse and more unplayable. So,
Oh yeah, I agree.
all their sports franchise games are becoming absolutely terrible. But back in 2015, even like 2015, they was brilliant.
I say the only game
7
EA
years later, they're awful.
I say the only game EA stayed consistent with, and because they stopped it in 2009, was NASCAR. That was the only game they stayed consistent with, I thought.
Yeah, they try all these things to make their games better and just make them worse. Madden's now the worst game.
What do they say? Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Exactly. But yeah, that's EA for you. They'll, keep striving to make everything worse than what it was previously.
Worse, and now it looks like they're going to be brought out by Amazon. So yeah, it's going to be Amazon EA Codemasters F1 2023. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Let's deal with 22 first. Let's not worry about 23 yet.
Exactly. I can't wait for Amazon EA Codemasters F1 2023. I really can't. You'll probably get free Prime membership with every car you drive. Probably, yeah, something like that.
I can't wait to watch the documentary of them making it.
Yeah, unbelievable, unbelievable. So it was only 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, that EA bought Codemasters, and now Amazon are going to buy EA. I just get so confused. I just really do. I can't work it out. Really, it's just unbelievable. And it's all because these companies get bigger and bigger and bigger, so they take over, like, the one that was big a few years ago. So EA, as an example, massive company, but they're nowhere near as big as Amazon. So Amazon just got in there and swallowed them up and said, "Yeah, we'll have you. Thank you very much." Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But I don't know. I think my baby's awake.
Okay, Jamie. Well, I shall wrap it up now and say thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me this evening for a quick Hookster Talks. Been fascinating as always. Thank you, Donald. Have you started work yet, Donald?
Huh?
Have you started work yet, Donald?
Oh, no, I don't go it's only 5:45 p.m. here. I don't start work until 10 p.m.
Oh, so you got another 4 hours. Oh, that's good. You can sit
I
down.
usually leave my house at 9:30.
You can sit down for a couple of hours now and try and get some more of those trophies, can't you?
No, not tonight. I'm watching the NASCAR ARCA Series race from Bristol, and I'm watching Truck Series qualifying right now.
God.
So, nah, I won't.
I just realised I didn't pause my game.
Oh dear. Oh no, it's been running without you, Jamie.
Piastri's in 9th after 19 laps at Austria.
Wow. And you weren't there.
But anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. See you
Yeah,
guys. Jamie, you going to
okey-dokey.
be on the league? Be at this Monday's league race? Or are you off this week?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm still not back at work for 2 weeks, so.
There you go then. Thank you
Canada,
very much,
right?
gentlemen.
I think it is. All right,
is.
guys. I'll talk to you then.
Thank you.
Speak to you later.
And good night.
Later,
Bye bye. There you go. That was Jamie and Donald, who's from the USA. Join us there for a few minutes to wrap up the stream. Let's go to the comments before I disappear tonight. As I just knocked myself. Where are we? Champ 92 says it's very true, Dave, and yes, we all have to remain optimistic and hopeful. It's the only way. Never give up. Exactly. I'm sure things will get better at some point in the future. It always does. The world unfortunately goes through these dips. We've had COVID and everything else that's going on in the world, but I'm sure eventually, things will get better. It doesn't seem like at the moment. It seems to be one disaster after the other, but we've had this happen in the past as well, and hopefully things will improve in a few years. And we'll look back at these times now and think, blimey, did that really happen? But it did, but, it's just something we've got to live through, unfortunately. Say hello to your guests for me. Cheers, folks. Hello to guests. They've gone now, but we're aware. Sadly, we are not living in a fair world or system where money rules everything, but I agree with all your points still. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Matthew says Mikey would have gone racing. Yes, he would have done. Yes. On the last lap. Yes. Scott says they should do what the BTC do when there's a safety car, add on the laps. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. To be quite honest, says Champ 92, the safety car rules never made any sense in F1, whatever, always confusion. True. It's a sticking plaster, isn't it, to a situation that they don't know what the solution is. So they just, put the safety car out, that'll do. It's just something they have to do, but they don't really know how to fix the problem. So, but that's what we got. So there you go. Bring back the team principal, shout at the FA on radio. Unpopular opinion, but that was awesome. No, it was awesome. I did like that. Yeah, that's what we need. We haven't got that now. I think I've said it somewhere. I can't remember where. Apparently, decisions have to go back to a HQ, which is not even in the country that they're racing. I don't know where the HQ is, so as 7 of the F1 teams are in England, I'm just going to, but this is probably wrong, but I'm just going to use that as an example and say, so in Monza, that decision of what to do had to go back to a headquarters in the UK. They had to make a decision and then come back to Italy to finalise the decision. And then, I don't know, is it down to the race director to make? No idea. But that's too many cooks spoiling the broth. The person at the circuit needs to make the decision on his own or with a couple of people, obviously, as to correct it if they think he's wrong. That's fair enough, but you can't make a decision based on a committee. You can't ask people in another country to make a decision. They're not there, you are, so you're the one that should be responsible. So you really shouldn't just try and pass a buck. This is all of course to do with Michael Massey. They're very, very scared now to make any decisions at all. And that's why I think it's going very, very slowly in Formula One these days. Why decisions are taking a hell of a long time. Because they're asking someone back at HQ whether we should do this or not. That is completely wrong. The person at the circuit, the person who's there in charge of the circuit should make that decision on his own or with a couple of other people, and that should be the end of it. We don't want Zoom calling people back in the UK asking whether that's the right decision. That's the wrong way to go. That's a bit like the UK, where we've farmed everything, all our call centres out to India, which is a stupid idea. Thankfully, it seems to have disappeared now because obviously India had the trouble with COVID and that they couldn't make the call centres work out there. So I think most of that's gone now, but that's what it used to be like. And that's a stupid decision and something that we shouldn't do anymore. And the the person at the track should make the final call on what happens, and it'll happen a lot faster if that is how it works out. Matthew says, what do you guys think of F1 Manager so far? I think it's a good game, fun, but too easy to begin with Ferrari, but hopefully they develop it. Yeah, I have heard that if you pick a decent team, Matt, that it is a lot easier to get through the game, so Ferrari would be a choice of getting through it. I'm enjoying it. Unfortunately, I've had very little time to play it, but I will be back on it later on tonight. So I've only actually done the first round, which was Bahrain. I started about 3 seasons just to test it because I didn't have a clue what to do. So I've done that, and I was using different teams, like backmarker teams. I did one with Williams, one with Haas, just doing the first round to see what. Unfortunately, I turned off the advice because I thought, I don't need the advice, I know what to do. But I turned it back on again for this one race with Williams, and then it is very helpful because she tells you exactly, what to do and what buttons to press and what have you. And once you know what to do, you can then get rid of her afterwards because she is quite annoying. But to start with, it's best to put that on because there's very little actual instructions and what to do. It's just like, I mean, if you've had a go at the Motorsport Manager, you'd probably have a little bit of a clue what to do. But I only sort of mucked around on Motorsport Manager for about 5 minutes, so I really haven't, So this was me going in at the deep end, and I turned all the instructions off, and I was like, and I don't forget I'm an old person as well, so as I say, I was as confused as a giraffe in a bungalow. I'm like, I don't know what to do now. What do I do? So yeah, but once I turned the instructions on and it told you, I did a lot better, and then I restarted it. So I've restarted in a McLaren now, and I've just done the first race at Bahrain, which is pretty good. So I should be on to the next round now. So yeah, I am enjoying it. As I say, if you're in a Ferrari, it probably is a little bit too easy. I'm in the McLaren, and I think, yeah, that's right. I got Lando into 9th place in my first race. Unfortunately, Danny Rick was only 14th, which sort of sums up his real life season right now. But I couldn't get him any. I tried, but I couldn't get him any higher than 14th, unfortunately. So yeah, apart from that, I'm very much enjoying it at the moment. So yeah, but as I say, there's a big update coming to it as well, so that might have some improvements. I think there are a few improvements that are needed, so hopefully, as they say, they listen to customer feedback, so it should be even better when the patch comes out. A lot better than all these patches for F122 anyway. Let's move on from that. DeFries, Champ92 says, DeFries got all the respect he deserves, and Latiffi just doesn't have what it takes to remain F1. Even in F2, he wasn't anything special. Williams needed money and sponsorship, that's why they signed him. Yeah, I thought that was the situation. So, unfortunately, that means Latiffi will probably still be there next year at Williams, which is a shame. But, as we say, money talks, and there you go. There's the reason why he's there. Champ92 says, Maldonado at least won a race. He did win a race. Yeah, that was Australia, wasn't it? 2012, with my Hazzled brain has worked that out. Wasn't that Australia 2012? He won a race in the Williams. Well done, Pastor Maldonado. Helium Trophy, welcome to the stream. He says he's been P21 twice and in F1 for 3 years. Adds up to its P45. Yeah, P45 time. Champ92 says this year's silly season has really been silly to the extreme. Yes, it has. And Cockmasters. Yep, I totally agree. Never ending story with this company. EA end ambitions. Yeah, do you remember what was the original tagline? EA challenge everything. Challenge everything. And EA Sports, if it's in the game, it's in the game. Although it's not really, is it? I mean, can't even put tracks in the F1 games, can they, that actually are in the F1 games? Or should I say the F1 in real life? But there you go. Yeah, and then they come up with some excuse about, oh, well, no, it's not actually in the season, so we can't. Like China, you can't actually play it in a career mode. It's just like multiplayer and, a championship race, but you can't play it in the career mode. And they say, oh, well, because it's not actually part of the calendar, so we can't include it in the career mode. That's a load of balls, because in F1 2020, they had Vietnam. F1 never even raced there, and yet they left it in there, didn't they? Left it in there. So what's your excuse for that, Codemasters? You've got no excuse, have you? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. What you mean is you just can't be bothered to include it, because unfortunately that means if they include it in the career mode, they've got to include all the stuff that goes with it, like the way points are worked out and like the drivers going up to the podium. I expect there's probably not even a podium celebration for those tracks. They're just, you race them and that's it. I'm not quite sure because I haven't raced them yet, but yeah, that's what I reckon. So I thought I can't be bothered. Just chuck it in. Yeah. I'm done with this game now. And that's not me talking, that's EA themselves. We're done with this game. We want to move on to Call of Duty 27. So yeah. For heaven's sake, Amazon. Ha ha ha. Yep. No, that's a true story. Amazon are buying EA. Yep. Whether it's going to happen or not, I can't swear to it. But at the moment, that's the rumour and that's the plan from Amazon. They want to buy EA. Scott says DFS and IKEA are working with it. Yes, they are. Yes, those sofas. I'll tell you what, those sofas, best part of F1 2022. As soon as I fire that game up, I don't even want to go out and drive the cars. No, I just want to pick my next sofa. That's it. Yeah, that's what EA have reduced me to. Because if you give an old man pictures of sofas, he's going to sit there for hours and decide which one he wants to pick. Yeah, so well done EA for completely ruining the game by giving me a choice of sofas. Yeah, well done indeed. IKEA, the labyrinth store, you can go in but you can never get out again. Mission Impossible. I agree. I've been in IKEA a few times and yes, it's a great. My favourite is the Billy bookcases. Yes, I was always buying Billy, but I don't know why. I've thrown them all away now, but I used to buy Billy bookcases. I used to love those. Helium Trophy says Toto still being bitter about last year. Oh yes. HRD says, hello sir, welcome to the stream. They only ended it with a safety car because that's what the Hamilton fans wanted in Abu Dhabi. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I still stand by my thing. I should have say they should have just covered it off with yellows and ran to the end. But that's just my opinion, as I say. Every time, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. Always say that if it ended like that, everyone would demand the rules to be changed. Exactly. Champ 92 says, we just want consistency once and for all, but that's just... catch, let's talk about action, please. Yes, we need let's talk about action, please. Yes, indeed. HRD says Motorsport Manager should already be in the main F1 games as the My Team mode. I quite agree. You imagine F1 Manager with like the actual playability of F1 2022, because however good F1 Manager is, obviously because it's a management game, the graphics are never going to be as good as the Codemasters games, but it's totally understandable. It's not about that. It's about the management side of it. If you go back to the old EA F1 Manager game, which was back in 2001, I do believe, for the PS2, the graphics on that were abysmal, but that wasn't what it was about. It was about playability on the management side. But if they could incorporate that into a My Team, obviously they can't, because otherwise Frontier Developments will just turn around and say, you just copied exactly our F1 Manager thing, and probably sue them, which I think they'll probably be in their rights to. But yeah, imagine that as a My Team, because I mean, let's face it, My Team's, it's pretty boring now. It's still the same old crap from 2020, isn't it? They came up with a fairly good idea, although I'm not a fan, because basically you're just driving the same car all the time, and all you can do is change the livery, but that's it. So I'm not a fan. I still prefer the driver career myself, but yeah, so it's a pretty good idea they come up with, as managing your own team. But then it went on to 2021 and it was pretty much exactly the same, and 2022 is exactly the same again. So yeah, but if they incorporate it as an F1 Manager with sort of the playability, and that's the thing, the fact that you could think of F1 Manager, if you could actually take control of those cars yourself, that would be great, wouldn't it? Obviously you can't, because as I say, that's not what they're aiming for. But yeah, if you could do that, that would be a great game. But unfortunately we're never going to see it happen. All the time EA are in charge of Codemasters. Yes, never going to happen. Scott says, and Seb is good at times but has incidents, but Lance is pretty decent. Yeah, Lance is doing okay right now. I've had a lot of criticism. I've said a lot of criticism about Lance, but He's not doing too bad. He's not doing too bad. Champ says, no, it was Spain, was it? Thank you, sir. It was a long time ago, so my memory's a bit azzled. Spain 2012, but in Melbourne he was on Alonso's tail and crashed. That's right. I knew there was a reason why I remembered that race. Yeah, he crashed out. That's right. That was actually in the title sequence, wasn't it, for F1 2012, the actual game where he crashed out. That was in the intro sequence, wasn't it? I knew there was a reason why I remembered it, but just the wrong reason. Scott says, Spain 2012 debut plum. Love it. I love it when I get corrected. Yeah, you're right. It was. HRD says most of the tracks wasn't raced in the 2020 season and they included it. They still should have added in the tracks that they raced in that season. Yeah, they should have done. They should have done. I mean, that 2020, that's just a fantasy season, isn't it? Because half of those races we didn't even do. Including the bloody Hanoi circuit, which is well annoying. And they didn't even race it in real life. So our Codemasters can say, oh no, we can't put this track into the game in 2022 in the career mode because it's not actually in the real season. It's just total bullshit. That's typical, isn't it? As we've come to find out. Most of them was in grid, so it shouldn't have taken that much and they were too lazy. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I remember they were in grid. I don't see the point in making my own team and driving for it. I'd rather manage it and watch my two... Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But the thing I like about the driver career is the fact that you can change teams and, you know, while you're driving around, those other teams have been doing different... They've gone down different sort of development paths, so it's quite interesting to change teams. But as I say, in my team, you've got the same car all the time and you can't change it. So it's a bit boring to me. All you can do is change the livery. And of course, unfortunately, if you're on PlayStation, your livery choices are very limited, unlike on PC where you can make your own liveries and slap whatever you want on it with mods. But for PlayStation, very limited liveries, and they're pretty rubbish, to be honest. Pretty rubbish. We want a proper GT7 livery editor, don't we? That's what we want. Only way you can do is simulating the races. Yeah, that's true. Heard F1 added in a few new tracks. Yeah, they've added China. There was Portugal a couple of weeks ago as well. Helium Trophy says the only thing that could improve with the EA My Team is the ability to shoot Will Buxton. Now that would be an improvement. Bloody hippie. Oh my god. I'll fast forward through those bits now because luckily it says skip. Yeah, as soon as Will Buxton comes on, it comes up with the cross button and it says skip, and I'm like, yes please. Yes, please, right away. That's what I do because those interviews are just, oh my god, it's just so boring. China should have been included. Need another track. We do. Ah, yes, that time when Maldonado crashed on the last lap and they showed the replay more than 5 times and missed Button crossing the finishing line. Yes, I remember that. Maldonator. I'll never forget that period in F1 where they'd show the replays for over a minute. Yes, never-ending replays. I mean, Bertrand Gachot took himself out of the Pacific team if anyone bought more money. True indeed. Missed the moment? Rewind your life. Wow. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us tonight, everyone. Bloody hell, how long have I been on here? 2 hours. That's it. That's it. My time is up. My time is up. Thanks to everyone for joining me tonight. You have been awesome as always. I'm just going to go. I don't know if I can scroll up high enough, so I'll try. Champ 92, Helium Trophy. HRD was in there as well. Scott Barnes. Who else did we have? Matthew D'Souza, of course. And will it let me scroll up? Plynor Plessy was in there. We were talking about radio. Thank you, sir. Just Jamie was in there as well. And, I think it's going to let me go right to the top. Let's have a look. There was one other person. Oh, yes, Mr. Cornell Monty. Welcome to you, sir. Welcome to you. And I think we'll go up to the top. Oh, Moni Yorkshire was in there as well. Didn't say anything, though, but he was in there. Just Jamie, Scott Bart. And at the start of the show, Will F1 was in there as well. Well, there you go, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. You have been awesome as always. That was a really nice discussion. I didn't think it would last that long because I really didn't think there was much to talk about. But as usual, it turned into 2 hours as usual. So thanks for everyone. You have been awesome. This is good night from me and Mr. TB Bear. TB Bear. Yes, we love you, don't we, TB? Mwah, mwah. No. Right, that's it. That's me banned from YouTube for life. So thanks everyone. You have been awesome tonight, and I will catch you